A groundbreaking new treatment could help millions of people who are allergic to dairy. You definitely know someone, it could be you, but our 9 News Health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is here to share more on this. So let's just start off with how common are dairy allergies?
Super common and getting more common, unfortunately. 6.2 million Americans. I know I have some in my family. It was a very interesting Thanksgiving because we had dairy allergy, we had an egg allergy, we had a nut allergy, so we had different sections for everybody.
Just eat the turkey.
But one of the reasons that people think it's getting so common is because parents aren't introducing these food antigens early enough. So the Allergy Society really does emphasize by 4 to 6 months, you should already be introducing these antigens to your child. And even if they're still breastfeeding, you should still, a lot of them are powdered antigens and such, eggs and dairy and peanuts and other nuts, the things that are most common.
When you say a dairy allergy, are we talking about lactose intolerance or is this something different?
Very different, Alex. So this is an important distinction because lactose intolerance is a nuisance. It means your gut doesn't have the enzymes to digest the milk sugar, which is called lactase. So maybe you have a little bloating, maybe you have a little gas, a little flatulence, a little diarrhea, not life-threatening. A true cow's milk dairy allergy can cause anaphylaxis, hives, close your throat, and cause life-threatening reaction. These are people who literally have to carry EpiPens. And sometimes I even had a case in medical school of a kid that was sitting in a coffee shop where they aerosolize the milk because they're steaming it and just sitting in the same coffee shop with that aerosolized milk. And that's one of the reasons many schools and airplanes have even banned peanuts now, because even somebody else opening a peanut bag a few rows ahead could cause anaphylaxis.
You hear people all the time growing out of allergies.
Yeah.
Do kids grow out of a milk allergy?
The dairy one very commonly. So that's the silver lining here. So usually the estimates say about 20% of kids by the age of 4. And then usually by the time you're 16, it'll be more like 75%. But there's 25% of adults who kind of continue to persist the dairy allergy. And if you think about what an allergy is, it's your immune system misbehaving. So when you're born, your immune system is like a blank slate. You can write anything on it. And as you start seeing antigens and viruses, bacteria, food antigens, two things you eat, your immune system says, okay, this is okay, and this is harmful. So kids that don't see these antigens early enough, their immune system learns that dairy is something dangerous, and it goes to war when it sees the dairy, and that's what causes that anaphylaxis. So as kids get older, the immune tolerance changes, the plasticity, how much the immune system can change changes. The immune system gets smarter, so to speak, and stops reacting to that dairy.
We don't have a ton of time left, but I do want you to talk about this treatment and how it works, and do you think it will work for folks?
I think it will work. I think there's some caveats to it. So it's called oral immunotherapy, which means it gives you graded doses of that thing that you're allergic to. So it's like physical therapy for your immune system. Basically teaching it that cow's milk is not so bad, and they start with like donkey's milk or like other types of milk that are related to cow's milk. They get you into the hospital. Sometimes they give you little microdoses every hour. Then there's an outpatient phase where they give it to you every month and you get a little bit more, a little bit more. And then eventually you can get to the point, and people have gotten to the point, where you can eat milk in food products, right? If it's cooked milk or what have you, and then eventually drink milk itself. I'm really excited about the treatment because it could be life-changing for the people that have dairy allergies. Caveats, it hasn't had a randomized controlled trial. You lose that tolerance very quickly. So within a week, if you don't get that milk, your immune system could go back, and then it could cause a life-threatening reaction. And then we have to watch for something called eosinophilic esophagitis, which is, okay, we've trained your immune system not to go to war, but is it still unhappy? And are you still getting inflammation in your esophagus or your GI tract? That requires long-term monitoring.
All right, as always, Dr. Kohli, thanks.